Just a short and quick update. During an interview with Famitsu, Suikoden IP director Takahiro Sakiyama, director Tatsuya Oguchi, and artist Junko Kawano revealed some new information about the remaster. Let's not waste any time, let's just jump right in. Director Tatsuya Oguchi was asked about the games having been released on various platforms in the past and which version the remasters are based on. He responded that the source code and game data are based on the 2005 PSP ports of Suikoden 1 and 2. He mentioned that there were some issues with the PSP versions that fans made them aware of, and that they carefully reviewed all of these issues and made many corrections. If you remember from the Tokyo Game Show video, Tatsuya Oguchi vaguely commented on stage about making various corrections to the game. We now have confirmation that the corrections he was referring to were about bugs, mistranslations, as well as new issues that were introduced with the PSP version, due to the resolution being bigger than the original PS1 versions. For example, because of the larger resolution, sometimes things were shown on screen that shouldn't have been shown in the PS1 version until the camera panned away, which spoiled some scenes. And in regards to bugs, the Matilda gate glitch was fixed in the PSP ports of the games, so that is now more or less confirmed to be fixed in the remaster. Takahiro Sakiyama would then chime in and comment that they corrected many typos and errors in the dialogue to make sure things didn't feel out of place, and he gave some examples. In Suikoden 2, they removed the incorrect usage of Sasurai's name, possibly referring to the scene where Hikusak was incorrectly referred to as Sasurai, as well as in Suikoden 1 where Kreutz would refer to Gale Rugner as George, but this issue with Gale Rugner's name being incorrectly called George didn't exist in the Western release. He was also asked about the Sega Saturn version of the game having additional content and if they would be included in the remaster. To which he replied, since it's based on the PSP version, the Sega Saturn version won't be included. So that puts that to rest. For everybody hoping that the additional Sega Saturn content would be added, unfortunately that's not going to happen. For anyone new that doesn't know what the Sega Saturn content is, it added several new minigames, a few extra scenes, an extra rune and armor set. I'll probably make a video showing it all off at some point. They were asked about the long delay the game received and were asked if the reason for the delay was due to bugs. To which Tatsuya Oguchi replied that bug fixing was only one of the reasons, but that the quality of the remaster itself was not up to par to deliver to the fans. He mentioned how they spent all of that additional time fixing bugs, brushing up the visuals, as well as having reworked the game's translation several times. And again, I'd just like to point out that when they've been asked about the translation in the past, they've stated that their intent is to bring it closer in line with the Japanese version. So don't panic over the reworked translation part of his comment, as the Western translations of the original games were a total mess filled with issues, and it appears they're working hard to make sure all of those issues are fixed. They were then asked about optimization for each platform. Tatsuya Oguchi mentioned that loading times and frame rates have been improved compared to the originals. The interviewer asked him a follow-up question related to the improved loading times, asking about the character sprites running on screen during the loading screens, and if they'll disappear quicker than the originals. To which Takahiro Sakiyama responded that they hardly appear in the HD remaster and that the beginning of the game will be the longest loading screen. We finally got some specific details on the contents of the gallery. The interviewer asked what it would include, and Tatsuya Oguchi mentioned that it will include the ability to listen to music and that it will have an event viewer, allowing you to watch back key scenes from the games. Basically, it sounds almost identical to the PSP gallery where we could listen to the soundtracks, view the intro movies and other CG scenes from Suikoden 2. We could rewatch key events of the games, watch the epilogues, and view the credits. The interviewer then asked Junko Kawano about the artwork that she drew for the remaster. This was a lengthy conversation about art, but more or less summed up as Junko Kawano saying that she didn't trace over any original art, but redrew it all while remaining faithful to the original depictions of the characters. They were then asked about the new piece of art showing Tio introducing Ted to Tyr, and it was once again confirmed that this was a special request, by Takahiro Sakiyama to Junko Kawano, and they went into a rather lengthy discussion about the piece. When the interview finally got back on track, they were asked specifically about Luca Blight, that he had some dark and extreme lines and moments in the original game, and they were asked if that will remain unaltered. Takahiro Sakiyama replied that Luca Blight remains the same in the remaster as he did in the original. He then commented on the game's age rating in Japan. The original PS1 version was rated 0A, the PSP port was rated 0B, while the HD remaster is being rated 0C. The differences between ratings are 0A is rated for everyone, 0B is rated for 12 and up, while 0C is rated for 15 and above. So the HD remaster is receiving a higher age rating than previous versions of the game. He then mentioned that there is an alteration to the original version of Suikoden 2 compared to the original. Richmond will no longer be smoking a cigarette in his portrait, and the ashtray from his table has been removed. Western regulations regarding depictions of smoking appears to be the reason for this alteration and removal. They were asked about character balance and if any characters were adjusted. Tatsuya Oguchi replied that they didn't touch any areas of the game related to balance, and that the characters will be as they were in the originals. The interviewer then asked about the timer on Clive's side quest and if the time limit will remain the same. Tatsuya Oguchi responded that the time limit will remain in place, but that the increased battle speed options should make the events of Clive's side quest easier to complete. That pretty much confirms that the 2x and 4x battle speed options won't speed up the in-game clock as some people have worried about. Although I'm sure that will disappoint some people who are hoping for either an increase in the timer or the removal of the timer for Clive's side quest. They were then asked if you could increase travel speed on the world map. Tatsuya Oguchi commented that there is a condition for that, but he can't reveal any details just yet, and he's sure fans will find it interesting. They were then once again asked about game balance and if there would be any new cooperative attacks or magic unites. Tatsuya Oguchi said there won't be any new attacks, but that they have strengthened the unite attacks and magic unites. And finally, they were asked if they had any words for the fans. Junko Kawano mentioned that when she told Yoshitaka Murayama that she was asked to work on the illustrations for the remaster, that he was envious of her, and she's sure he would have loved to have had the chance to work on them too. Takahiro Sakiyama would mention how he's wanted to bring Suikoden back for a long time, and he's happy that they can finally do that, and that he hopes this remaster will allow the Suikoden franchise to continue. To give a quick summary, the HD remaster is based on the PSP ports, so any bugs that were fixed in the PSP versions will be fixed in the remaster. Say bye-bye to the Matilda gate glitch. They spent a lot of time bug fixing, and they fixed the resolution issues with the PSP games spoiling scenes. Character balance will remain as it is, although they have adjusted unite attacks and magic unites. They fixed translation issues and dialogue mistakes and inconsistencies. The gallery should be more or less identical to the PSP gallery, with soundtracks, intro movies, CG scenes, key events, epilogues and credits all viewable. Richmond's cigarettes have been removed due to rating reasons, and the game will be receiving a higher rating than it has before. Clive's quest timer will remain unchanged, but you can make use of the battle speed options to help you complete his quest, as they won't affect the game timer. And the Sega Saturn content will not be included in the remaster. So what do you guys think about the details revealed in the interview? I know there will be some people disappointed about the timer in Clive's quest not being adjusted, and there will be a few of you disappointed by the lack of Saturn content, and I'm certain the Matilda gate glitch being fixed is going to disappoint a lot of people. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.